go. I'm sure like me your level of anticipation grows. I need to write more songs to improve my portfolio. I never know when I might meet an impresario. Let's have a solo. Questions in my life, this one does vex me so. I need the answers so that I can get on with the show. And so I hope you'll tell me, 'cause I really need to know. The calendar remains unchecked. Is it FAWM yet? Ah, yes, says Wobby. Now it's better. Yes, I have several different microphones down here and several different webcams, and they're all rubbish. And Array of Emotion says, yay, we can hear you now. Ryako Music says, okay. Array of Emotion says, no more squirrels. Well, let's hope that's the least of the curse striking again, because the story will unfold in the next few minutes as I talk about why, as Ryako Music has noticed, I'm downstairs. Yes, I'm not in the studio. I'm not in the studio because my studio computer is in bits. Cast your mind back to the struggle that was last Thursday's show. There were certain issues with everything down last Thursday, and it kind of got me thinking about, well, you know, my machine's really just not up to scratch for streaming, and I really need more memory in it. And to that point, I am now downstairs and looking at my streaming stats, because my work machine, which this one is wired directly into the router, which is about there, by Ethernet cable. And I've fiddled about with me bits per second rating and everything else. This camera is streaming at 1080p because I thought I'd do it. I thought I'd do it in 1080p just to see if I could, and see what the results are like. And there are a number of issues with streaming from downstairs. One of which, and Ryako Music will laugh at this, is that I am streaming largely through candlelight. There is a reason. The reason, or one of two reasons, is this lovely thing. So this is my Muji cuckoo clock, and it's lovely, but when the lights are on, it goes, oh, it's daylight, I'll go cuckoo. And we really don't, well, Array of Emotions would probably find it hugely entertaining if I was interrupted every half hour by a cuckoo clock and by an RSPB electric clock on the wall, which at 10 o'clock gives me, I think it's either a blackbird or a nightingale song. Ryako Music says, I remember that. Yes, I mean, they're lovely clocks. And Array of Emotions quite rightly says, well, yes, I would. Lol. Smiley face logo. So, yeah, last Thursday, I've completely lost track of time. Last Thursday, the stream encountered issues. Thank you very much to Yuha, who has not joined us yet, but I'm sure he will if he's around. he pointed me in the direction of one of Twitch's add-ons, which is called Twitch Inspector. And Twitch Inspector, once you've signed into it, lets you have a look at how you streamed it. Mine didn't do well. In fact, I actually dropped off the internet at one point because I noticed that my stream had restarted when I came to edit the show afterwards. So those big red lines are unstable connections, and one of the unstable connections persisted for 3.5 minutes. Another one persisted for 2.8 minutes, and yeah, that is why things were going pear-shaped. Arrive Emotion says, yes, I think we mentioned that in the chat. Ryako Music says, I think I was with you. I was at Muji with you when you bought it. You were back in the Tottenham Court Road store in what seems like donkey's years ago. But lovely thing. I love it to bits. I bought my sister the larger version of it for her birthday, and now there's one in her house that annoys her when it goes off at every half hour as well. So yeah, why was the internet going nuts on Thursday? Turned out it was the launch of the new Xbox, wasn't it? And the internet noticed. TalkTalk on Friday reported that their internet traffic on Thursday night broke records. It was 30% above what it normally is. So a lot of the problems that I was encountering on Thursday weren't my fault at all. In fact, if we go back to Twitch Inspector, it does a configuration check to see what your rig's like. And, oh, look at that. I got an excellent. This has not stopped me in my quest for upgrading my computer for a number of reasons. Live 11 comes out in February. That we all know is going to push any machine that's less than, or that's more than a year old, quite a lot harder than Live 10 does. That's just a given, because software going back to the Xbox, the new Xbox has a processing capability around about 12 teraflops. And in the year 2000, the world's fastest supercomputer had a capacity of 12.3 teraflops. So the machines that we have on our desks these days would be considered supercomputers 10, 15, 20 years ago. And such is the way of improving computing resources, and why wouldn't you? But what I wanted to do was to max out the RAM on my machine upstairs, and not just because the machine upstairs could do with about a little bit more memory and more breathing space, because putting samples in Ableton into RAM means that Ableton gets at them a lot faster than if it's pulling them off your hard drive. Even if your hard drive's a solid state drive, RAM is faster. So yeah, but the main game plan I had was that then I could cascade the memory upgrade, because in getting a complete new set of RAM chips for the studio PC, I could then take the existing RAM from that PC, which is 32 gigs of RAM, you know, it's not too shabby. And because it's DDR4 RAM, I could put them in this machine, because this machine has really been struggling. As I mentioned when I was talking to Yuha on his stream this week, I was watching his stream and editing and then rendering last Thursday's show, and this machine keeps running out of memory, and it was crashing. if I tried running an internet browser and my video editing suite at the same time, the video editing suite software would just go, yeah. So I ordered the RAM on Monday the 9th of November from Amazon because I pay rather a lot of money to be a Prime member, which is why when I do a little chat in the Twitch window, I get a little crown next to me because I'm a member of Prime Gaming. And yeah, their prices, I did a lot of research. They were pretty much the same price as overclockers.co.uk, who were the other supplier that I was very nearly tempted to get it from. So ordered it on Monday. Next day delivery, yeah, it was Monday evening, so next day delivery turned out to be Wednesday, but yeah, I could live with that. And a fresh dose says video editing software eats so much RAM. Tell me about it. And this machine, I was trying to run everything, and I've got a nice graphics card with two 4K monitors in front of me, but the actual rest of things has been struggling. It's a machine that's about 2.5, 3 years old, might be a little bit more than that, but it's got a decent i5 Intel processor on it, and it gets by, and I use it for my work stuff, and I use it for video editing and emails and yeah, whatever. So Wednesday came and went, and there was no sign of my memory. I had memory loss. Well, I had memory that hadn't even shown up. So I was somewhat peeved by that. I was more peeved when I went on to Amazon, and Amazon, I've now picked up a really interesting echo. I've no idea how that's happened. I went on to Amazon and was confronted by a message that effectively said, well, you got your delivery address wrong and you need to update your address info because otherwise it'll happen again next time, as you can see in the background there. But clicking on the See Details little tab there, I could see that what had actually happened was that they'd somehow, for some godforsaken reason, sent it to Norwich, which is the other side of the country from me. Thursday, I thought, oh, okay, I'll do the stream with my current setup and it'll arrive on the Friday. And certainly when I checked on Friday, it said, yeah, we got the parcel. It's at the Bristol office. Should have known better, shouldn't I? So what happened on Friday? I sat on my backside all day waiting for the delivery to happen. So I thought, well, okay, it's going to turn up today. I'll pull all the RAM out of the studio machine and put it in the machine here so I can do the editing and it'll all work all right. So that's what I've done. And this machine has worked like a dream since I doubled the amount of RAM in it from 16 gigs to 32-bit gigs. But upstairs machine is out of action with the case open and no RAM in it. And the RAM didn't turn up. So I got a bit peeved at this point and went on customer support to Amazon and talked to one of their support bots who went, oh, I can't deal with that, and put me through to a human being who reassured me that the memory would turn up on Saturday. Great, I thought, that's fine for Sunday's show. Saturday came and went. No update on that tracking information. No memory. The support person had said, oh, it'll be delivered on Saturday, and I'll phone you to make sure that it's been delivered on Saturday. Guess what? Didn't get my phone call. So by the evening, I was incandescent and went back on Amazon to complain somewhat strongly that I was being let down and that I had a stream to do on Sunday night, and the machine that I wanted to use it with was currently in bits because it's waiting for the RAM to be delivered. It also has meant that I've no new music to share with you tonight because the machine that is waiting for its RAM in the studio, which I use to make all my music, is in bits. So eventually the nice support person who I got after the original support person went, oh dear, I think I need to escalate this, told me about how my case should have been escalated on Friday and had quite obviously not been escalated. In fact, it seemed to have been ignored completely. So I was assured that even though they couldn't guarantee getting me the package, which their tracking system still says is sitting 15 miles away from me in the warehouse at Bristol, couldn't guarantee getting it to me Saturday night, but it would be with me on Sunday. Guess what? It's not with me. In fact, I eventually got an email from somebody completely different in the social media damage limitation team after I went very ranty on Twitter. Please check out the thread. Please retweet it. Please reply to it. Keep it active. I'm headfirst only on Twitter. Follow me, retweet the hell out of those tweets because they let me down completely. And the support wonk on the damage limitation team was basically saying, oh, apologise for the inconvenience. We've ordered you a replacement and it'll be with you soon. And it's like, oh, great. My stream's at 9 p.m. What do you mean by soon? Tuesday. Riako Music says, I've never seen you this pissed off, Chris. I'm an easygoing guy. I have, in my time, worked in customer care. I am was a certified customer care trainer for BT back in the day. I know how awkward and irate customers are dealt with and how situations are defused. But at the end of the day, those situations are only defused when the problem is resolved to the customer's satisfaction. And Mr. Bezos, you ain't cutting it. So yeah, I am very pissed off. I am pissed off about not having new music to share with you. I'm pissed off about not being able to make new music because that is what is getting me through the days at the moment, because I am in almost constant pain at the moment from the kidney stones, and I just have no tolerance left for being messed about like this. And I have been messed about like this for the best part of a week, and I have zero trust in Amazon as a service that is capable of delivering what I need for urgent things or things that are time dependent anymore. That trust is gone. I do not see it return. You know how much of a Star Trek nerd I am. You know how much I love The Expanse as a show and as a series of books, but I am this close to cancelling my Prime subscription. And I've been a Prime customer more or less since it started. I've been in this house for 20 25 years. So when the tracking information says your details are wrong, I tend to get angry because they are not. I have been using Amazon since I joined the service in 1999, and I haven't changed my address since then. So, and breathe. I have been very stressed and very uncomfortable, and I'm taking painkillers. I've more or less covered myself from head to foot in ibuprofen gel this evening, and yeah. So thank you for your comments on the chat. It has driven HFO to swear on his stream, and that in how many weeks have I been doing this now? 27 weeks of live streaming, more than half the year. I don't think I have ever dropped an F-bomb on this stream. And yeah, DeFresto says, incompetence level over 9,000. Damn, Amazon failed miserably. They have the resources to sort this out, but wow. Yeah, I think Array of Emotions, a suggestion of a nice bottle of wine, or Ryako music's, oh my god, you need a Xanax. Oh. What can you do? You know, I even before lockdown started, with the kidney stuff, and being laid off, and just generally being burnt out and ill, I've been a shut-in, and streaming and making music and sharing music with you guys, and just hanging out on the chat is how I get through the days. And at the moment I can't. So it's Ryako Music says a sweary Chris is a dangerous Chris. Never dangerous. Never dangerous. I'm not that guy. But I am very, very pissed off at the moment. And Array of Emotion says maybe no on the wine if you're also on painkillers. Yeah, and antidepressants as well. Do not mix with alcohol. So I've been on orange juice, and I had a Starbucks chilled mocha latte this evening. Ryako Music says, Skype me, dude. You're on, mate. I will Skype you tomorrow from down here, because it certainly won't be upstairs. But I have not been inactive, and painkillers got me up the step ladder today. So I have been busy. I have been so busy. Have a look at this. I ran out of wool. So I've still got 3 guitar hangers left, and kind of no wool. But goodness me, has that freed up room in the studio. I'm really, really chuffed with how good those hangers are, and the guitars hang proud of the wall, so they don't scrape. And I was sort of obsessive about drawing lines with the spirit level on the wall, so each line of hangers is horizontal, and I would put one guitar on the hanger I'd just done, and then position the next hanger along in a way so that the guitars don't touch. So that is a rogue's gallery of guitars. DeFresh says, now that's a sexy wall. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, cathartic F-bombs for the win. Definitely, you guys, as it says on the chat. So left to right, that Sunburst Finish Strat copy is my Aria Pro 2 Stagecaster, which is the first electric guitar that I ever bought back in, I think it was 1981, from Rose Morris which was one of the music shops in Denmark Street, just off Charing Cross Road in central London, and mecca for UK musicians because all the music shops were in Denmark Street, as was the first branch of the science fiction bookshop Forbidden Planet. So I used to pretty much spend all my spare time in Denmark Street in London. And when I decided to take the plunge, I went around all the music shops in Denmark Street because they not only sold new stuff, and I was a young and penniless 21-year-old, might even have been a 20-year-old. So I didn't have a lot of money to spend. And I think I picked up that guitar for 115 quid, second hand in Rose Morris. And over the years, it's been heavily customized. That bridge pickup is a Schaller Super Golden 50. The pickup above it is a hot rail pickup, which has a blade magnet system. It's really, really weird, but it works really well. And it had one of the first cheap versions of the locking tremolo. So this was back in the days where you either used a cheap Chinese knockoff or you routed a huge hole out of your guitar and dropped a Cala tremolo on it, which I wasn't going to do. And all that work was done brilliantly for me by Roger Giffin of Giffin Guitars. So next to that is my first synth controller, which is a Godin XTSA, which I talked about on the stream a couple of weeks ago. Rosewood finish, has piezoelectric pickups, so it can do your old acoustic sounding stuff, as well as connecting to my Roland GR55 guitar synthesizer and doing all the synthy stuff. And it sounds like a passable sort of Les Paul tone, and it's very, very heavy. Next to that, Squier Telecaster Deluxe that I picked up for a couple of £100 second hand from my local guitar shop in Dursley, Intersound, who are a lovely shop, lovely bunch of people, but Denver, one of their directors, knows me oh so well, because I walked in one day and he said, "Oh, I think you'd like this. Why don't you give it a go?" 3 chords and a smile, and it was coming home with me. Next to that is my main bass guitar, which is a JD Rhodey Supernatural that I bought back in the 80s when I was obsessed with teaching myself how to play like Mark King. And Mark King used, strangely enough, a JD Rhodey 2A Supernatural bass like that one. That's an old Fender Telecaster that I picked up from a Greek music producer who I knew, who I was almost in a band with, which is, it gets used sometimes. And then next to that, an Ibanez Blazer bass, which again has been heavily modded by Roger Giffin of Giffin Guitars, and it's the best fretless bass I've ever heard. And I bought it at a jumble sale for 60 quid because the numpty who'd originally owned it had decided he wanted to make it a fretless guitar, and had done so by taking a pair of pliers to it, pulling the frets out, and then filling in the gaps with polyfiller. I kid you not. So I got it for a really good price, and Roger Giffin put a proper ebony fingerboard on it, a really, really nice high-end Schaller bridge, and the tone that that thing gets is gorgeous. So Wobby123 says, "We still have to do our FAWM supergroup Song of Denmark Street. What a lovely idea." Yes, we will do this. Nostalgic and cool, sad and happy, times gone. Yeah, for those of you who aren't aware, the Denmark Street area has basically been razed to the ground and is now, or will eventually, just be glass and chrome. And high-end branding opportunities is, I think, how the developers describe the retail outlets there. Time's gone, says Wobby123. And yeah, it's so sad. I loved Denmark Street back in the day. In fact, if I just, I'll talk to you while I'm doing it. So I'm basically, as you're telling by the change in illumination on my other screen, what I'm doing is I'm calling up some photographs that I took back in the halcyon days of the early 1980s, when I used to go to Forbidden Planet for signing sessions, as you do. Remember, I was talking about meeting A.E. Van Vogt and got the more best wishes for more best wishes type stuff. Well, that was all took place in Denmark Street. So I am now trying to find the photos of various signings. Here we have, and what I'll do it full screen. So this is Denmark Street as it was in 1981, and there's a whole bunch of comic book nerds waiting to get through the door to meet the creators of that guy there. Yes, it's Judge Dredd as drawn by Brian Bolland. But for the moment, what I want to show you is all of the stuff that that you can see elsewhere in the street. I don't know if you can see that, but that says New Apollo Travels. Only Apollo is spelt with 2 P's and 1 L. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. So Rose Morris is off to the left of that street somewhere. Andy's Guitar Workshop was an absolute legendary shop, and oh boy, the treasures in there. Further down you had Rod Argent's Keyboard Shop, and there's also Macari's and a whole bunch of other shops. Really, really great stuff. So that's a wide view. Right, that's inside, and from left to right, Brian Bolland, Alan Moore. I'm trying to think who that is. I'll come back to you on that one. And Kev O'Neill. So Kev O'Neill and Alan Moore are the 2 people who created the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And yes, Alan hasn't really changed much in the 40 odd years since then. That's outside Forbidden. So that's 23 Denmark Street. So that was where Forbidden Planet started back in the day. And as you can see, there are posters in the window for that 2000 AD Judge Dredd annual signing session. I've still got the annuals, still got them signed. Wobby123 says, that is where I got some of my kit at Andy's. You have great taste in music shops, Wobby. There you've got a slightly wider version, so you can see the queue for the Judge Dredd signing was actually going upstairs into rented offices. It wasn't actually taking place in Forbidden Planet itself. There's Andy's Guitar Workshop. There's the F Hole, which was an acoustic guitar shop. Round the corner, in fact, you can see it there, the Eindkoop sign there. That pub is where I once spent a very, very memorable afternoon with Terry Pratchett and the rest of the alt.fan.pratchett crowd after he'd done a signing at Forbidden Planet for a couple of hours beforehand. And yeah, as you can tell, 1981, the sort of cars. I used to have an Austin Allegro. I don't admit that to very many people. So you guys, I used to have one of those as a car. It was legendary, although probably cliched. um, believed to be more aerodynamic when it was being driven in reverse than it was being driven forwards. So that's my whirlwind tour of Denmark Street as it was back in the day. And round the corner from all that is the Korean restaurant where I think Array of Emotions and Ryako Music and I had a rather memorable Korean meal out a few years ago. And Robbie says, in fact, my amp you played that needed a squirter packed up was from Andy's. Well, it was good kit. It's just obviously needed a tiny little bit of TLC. So yeah, there's not a lot that I can do down here in terms of sharing music, for which I apologise. I would give you a heads up that the Xbox launch may have been last Thursday, and we may have got the Microsoft users out of the way. But assuming that my memory does eventually turn up on Tuesday and I get it installed and ready for Thursday, PlayStation 5 launches on Thursday, and having been a PlayStation user, I know that all those PS5 owners are going to plug their machines in, fire it up, connect it to the internet, and it's going to go system update. So you can imagine just how much of a clobbering the internet is going to get next Thursday. So we'll give it a go. I'll stream if I'm around, and if I stream and fall off, it ain't, I hope, my setup. It is just going to be everybody and their dog downloading system updates for the PlayStation 5, which launches on Thursday. Wills Robin, good evening. I have something to show you, and I had it prepared specially. If you want, because you were saying about modelling and Blender and everything, get yourself a copy of this. The Complete Guide to Blender Graphics, Computer Modelling and Animation by John M. Blaine. This is the book that, so this machine is the machine that I use for computer graphics as well as for video editing and work and office and stuff. It's a great little book, that, and it takes you really through from very basics to quite complex stuff. So Wells Robin says, oh cool, well there you go. So it's, yeah, The Complete Guide to Blender Graphics. It's published by CRC, whoever they are, CRC Press, Taylor and Francis Group, an Informer company. And there you go. I have been watching Mindhunter, Wills Robin says. Yeah, no, I haven't got it here. I've got it upstairs. The books are, or the book is fascinating. It starts with the guy basically almost dying, and moves on from there, as you do. Yeah, Thursday, we'll see what happens. If I don't get the RAM in time, then I'll have a go downstairs. This is actually the resurrected Chinese webcam. You remember back in July when it was like 30 odd degrees in the studio and the camera just died on me? Well, it's this camera. And strangely enough, when it's not 36 degrees and it's not stuck just under a bed, it actually seems to be working all right. It's a bit noisy, but it's low light in here, and I've got me scented candles because I had a curry earlier and it did rather stink the house out. And they're calming candles because I've had a stressful few days, as you will see when you watch the replay of this stream. But oh boy. Ryako Music says, was Nick with us at the Korean restaurant? Didn't he sweat his face off from the spicy food? He did, didn't he? I don't think he got on with the kimchi too well, if I remember correctly. Ryako Music has now come up with the brilliant product suggestion that, right, I want that for Christmas now. Xanax candles. The image browser that I use to show you those photographs is one that I have been using since the year dot, and I'd really like to just give a shout out to Irfan Skiljan, who is the guy who created Irfan View. If you have a PC and you want a really, really good Swiss Army knife of an image viewer that just does what it says on the tin, you can't beat Irfan View. And the function of just hitting enter to switch the picture into full screen, I use it on a daily basis. If I open my web browser up, I will show you the website, but I highly recommend Irfan View, one of the world's most popular viewers worldwide. You can get 32-bit and 64-bit versions, and if you're on a PC, you can't get a better image viewer than that. The French Doge has just gone into raptures over Daisy. Ryako Music says a big fat blunt might work as a calming candle. Yeah, not my thing, mate. I have never partaken. So yeah, that's just a satellite photograph of a very, very large cumulonimbus somewhere over Africa, if I remember correctly, taken from the International Space Station, because I'm a nerd. I will also, when I finally get back up and running, be doing a bit of experimenting, because I've been getting a lot of latency issues. I mean, this is another reason why I'm wondering if more RAM is going to help speed up my machine upstairs. Latency. MIDI information from my Korg M3 keyboard into the main studio PC, into Ableton. So Ableton's plugins like Plogue changes MIDI information from the Korg M3 into notes. The latency on one of the tracks that I was doing with Sforzando as a plugin was giving me latency that was on the scale of a whole note in a bar at 100 beats per minute, which is just crazy. So what I'm going to do is I've been reading about or in fact watching YouTube videos about another sampler project which is called Decent Sampler, which also loads Sforzando files. It's part of or related to the pianobook.co.uk crowd. So quite a few of the piano book packs will work with Decent Sampler as well as with Sforzando and with Contact, or in some cases Contact Player, but on the whole with the full retail version of Contact, which I do not have, curse money. And Decent Sampler looks pretty good. I love the interface. The guy's only been working on it for like 6 months or so, and I want to see if Decent Sampler outperforms Plogue's Sforzando or not. And depending on the results, I will probably either stick with Sforzando or switch as much as I can to decent sampler. So stay tuned. That, assuming that I get memory on Tuesday, will be my project for this week. Reactor Music says, don't knock it till you try it, Chris. Lol. Wobby123 says, I will handle that. Reactor. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much me done for tonight. Less than an hour. I have updated OBS on this machine, and I have a really funky stats window now, which says that it will take me approximately 318 hours and 47 minutes to fill up the hard disk that I'm using for storing this broadcast. So I could probably go on a bit longer. It is really helping me hanging out and just venting and chatting with you guys. So yeah, anybody got any questions? As that old live stream cliche, like, why have you got Dr. Evil behind you? And I'm glad you asked why I've got Dr. Evil behind me. When I worked in the States back in the 90s, there was a craze for these sort of soft toys, and the idea was that you dropped them and they had a sampler in them. So I don't even know if this one still works, but you hit it. Oh my God, it still works. The boss, eat the info. $1 million. So I just thought that was cute. I think there's about 3 samples it plays. Yeah, so, and it just cycles through them. Riaka Music says, yes, I have questions. Do you know anything about Latin? Got a B in it at O-level, mate. And I've still got a Latin dictionary over there. Ask away. And I'll put Dr. Evil back on his shelf. De Fresto says, last time I heard about Latin was in middle school, so I forgot everything. I actually learned more about English through my Latin classes than I did in my English classes. Okay, I've written a section for Metropolis where I say Malleus Maleficarum. You're going to want to know how to pronounce Malleus Maleficarum, aren't you? I think it's Malleus. Malleus Maleficarum, the hammer of witches. Yeah, let me get me dictionary and see what it says. From music to Latin lesson. Now that's a 180, says the French Doge. And there is a Christmas card picture in here. And I have absolutely no idea of the context of why that is in this. It doesn't actually help in terms of where the stress is. It's got the pronunciation, but it hasn't got the stress. Although I guess as we don't know what ancient Latin sounded like when people spoke it, we only have written examples of it, then who can say for sure? I would. Malleus has a long second vowel. Wills Robin says, I believe that my sister still has Latin since she studies pet doctor or whatever that job is called in English. Vet. Head first only probably knows enough to help through. Also, Malleus has a long second vowel. And I would say that it's that long second vowel is where the stress ought to lie. In Latin, a word with 3 syllables has the second emphasised, right? That kind of sounds right. So Malleus Maleficarum. and Maleficarum. So even though that's a short second, yeah, I would go with Malleus Maleficarum. And if Latin scholars get upset about it, then tough. So Reactor Music says, thank you. So many bitches on YouTube are saying it incorrectly. Isn't the witch thing from the Middle Ages, though? Yeah, and I mentioned when we were talking about this on, or when Mel was talking about this on her stream on Wednesday, I made the comment, send for the witch smeller pursuivant, which was a character in the first series of Blackadder, played by the wonderfully over-the-top Frank Finlay. Now, Frank Finlay, there was an actor who could really chew the scenery, and they obviously told him to in Blackadder, because the witch smeller pursuivant is a character that stays with me to this day. And do you remember also that we were talking about Life Force, the Toby Hooper movie that features Matilda May stark naked for pretty much the entire film, Patrick Stewart in drag, and Peter Firth and Frank Finlay as a set of alien hunters, basically. And Frank Finlay's performance in Life Force has to be seen to be believed. The film's a stinker, but it's a stinker in the so bad it's good way. And yeah, do check it out. Frank Finlay was a joy, no longer with us. Racco Music says, oh, the man. Oh, no, Array of Emotion says, oh, man, the first Blackadder season is so weird. Yeah, but who cares? Brian Blessed? DeFresto says, while we're on the witch theme, can anyone recommend me some series about Salem? I played the game Murdered Soul Suspect and really loved the theme. You got me on that one, mate. Yeah. I've got some friends who are in a heavy metal band called Salem, if that helps. I've got their... No, it's in the other shelf. I have a set of shelves there. But isn't there a series called Salem about modern day witches in a sort of alternate reality version of America? That looked pretty good. Oh, DeFresto says the series Salem is not on Netflix, apparently. That's interesting. I wonder where the hell I saw it then. But it was, yeah, I rather liked that. Yeah. Oh, Mel and I have been talking about this already, but in case, if you have Netflix and you haven't checked it out yet, the new Legends of Monkey Season 2 has finally dropped on Netflix, and I watched several episodes back to back last night, and it is still glorious. Huge fun. Really, really enjoy it. It's a remake of, or a reimagining of, the Nippon television show that was broadcast in the UK, dubbed by a fantastic bunch of talent, including the wonderful Miriam Margolyes, a voice actor called Peter Marinka, who was superb. And they went kind of off script from the original show and made it into something glorious. And let's just say I'm a bit of a fan. Weirdness is one of those sort of strange things that tends to reassure people. The current obsession with weirdness is, I think, a result of people wanting to believe that things might improbably somehow improve, that the grinding awfulness of modern life slash politics slash existence slash whatever else you're trying to get through at the moment, that something weird might happen that might just take the edge off it for a bit. I've been a subscriber to the 14 Times, which is a magazine that specializes in finding weirdness throughout the world, for over 30 years now. I still go through secondhand bookshops and trawl them for flying saucer and UFO books. And if you ever find any, do let me know, because that's very much the sort of thing that I love collecting. Very much like our friend Jack Womack, the American writer who lives in New York, who recently brought out a glorious coffee table book of covers from flying saucer books. A book that has an introduction by our other friend, Mr. William Gibson. Very, very worth checking out. Riaka Music says, maybe that's why people like the concept of a zombie apocalypse. Exactly. I mean, all right, you're on the run and are likely to be dead very quickly, but it's a hard reset. It's, if you're in grinding debt, then that debt goes away. All right, you might be fighting for survival, but at least you're not going to be chased by the banks anymore. Whereas Robin says, oh, horror has that too. Just seeing such extreme things that you believe that you have it good, and yeah, we have it good. Escapism. That is also why the grindingly awful television series EastEnders is so popular over here, because life for a character in EastEnders is one of unrelenting stress and gloom and dire straits. And yeah, if watching somebody else suffering far more than you are makes you happy, then I guess that's why they're popular. Okay, guys, I'm flagging. I'm staring at my Twitch stats, which, even though I've been going now for an hour and 21 minutes, got stuck on 52 minutes for a strange reason. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I'm glad you're all here. Housekeeping. If you're watching this on Twitch, please follow me. Hello to my new follower, Tom G2A _ what, who I rather suspect is my nephew Tom. So hello, Tom, if you're watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, then hello. Apologies for this not being my normal rambling upstairs chat. This is my ad hoc, last minute, making ends do with a subpar setup, rambling, interminable ad hoc chat downstairs from the living room or the dining room. And yes, I'm in the dark, because otherwise my cuckoo clock is going to go off. So if you're watching me on YouTube and you like this sort of thing, then please subscribe, please click the like button. Although, quite frankly, if you're watching this and you've clicked the like button, then I'm not entirely certain that your critical judgment is justified, but thank you all the same. Riaka Music says, you've just described my stream, lol. Your stream's great. You have material to present. You have followers. You have content. You have great music. You have science fiction films. It's good stuff. But I will hopefully be back upstairs for Thursday's show, even if it grinds to a halt, because Muggins has once again synchronized his stream schedule with the launch of a major game console. The PlayStation 5 launches on Thursday, so the internet will be very busy. We'll just see what happens. And I will be playing with Twitch Inspector, which Yuha has introduced me to, as a way of consoling myself and basically seeing pretty graphics of exactly how long I got fallen off the internet for. But until Thursday, wish me luck. Please wish me luck. Let's hope that my RAM does turn up after 8 days. Thank you, Amazon, so much for that. We'll see what happens. And all being well, I will see you upstairs with a room full of guitars on the wall. Ryako Music says, good luck, thank you. But until Thursday, I'm going to sign off. Ryako Music says, you got Bezos. Didn't I just? All right, guys, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, wear a damn mask. And I hope that in the week ahead, you manage to stay safe, stay well, and above all else, stay sane. Things can only get better, as the song goes. We got rid of Dominic Cummings. There is perhaps a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We shall see. Okay, gonna sleep with a mask, says Will's Robin. That's the spirit. That's what you want to do. I'll see you on Thursday.